Hello, everybody. Hello, Spider-Man. I'm so glad you're furred. And first. Nanny moo moo. Hello, Patrick B. Hello, T-Rex. Oops, he's knocking over my coffee over here. Getting so excited. Hello, Nana Laura. It is so good to see you guys. I'm having a little bit of a disagreement with Bandit over here. She thinks that, it's fine weather tonight for her to be in the window. And I disagree because I'm cold. Ooh, yay. See, I just needed to go live. She just wanted camera time. She just wanted everybody to see her beautiful face. Yeah. Hello, Michigan Urbex. Thank you so much. Thank you. A million times over. Hello, Catherine Gaston. We're still in the early stages. Hello, Army Brat. Good to see you, sweetie. She is. Hi, Ava. Come on out. Speaking of which. Ava's not just a ham. She's the whole roast. Come on, Ava. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Aww. She's like, feed me. Love me. Bandit, you've got your food here, baby. I know. It's not treats. Hold on. Oh my goodness. We've got all of them here. There's some. Here's a few for you. Oh, Billy's wandering away. You can come over here, baby. You're safe. Mm-hmm. Here you go, Ava. Here's another biscuit. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I love you, and so do my babies. Oh, it's not going to be a super, super long night. But let me tell you, it's a quality one. It's a quality night. And people in court. So I spent like an hour and a half editing a case, and then all of a sudden it ended abruptly before it was over. And I messaged people in court out of frustration, and she's like, don't worry, girl, I got the whole thing. So tomorrow she's going to be sending me the case because it wasn't my fault. YouTube did it. Yep. They hate me. They hate all content creators, I think. And then my Urbex might have shared something with me that y'all are gonna love. It's the previous hearing to our crazy squatter. Oh, you are not tooting next to me. You are not tooting next to me. Okay, you are. But can you not? Can you not? Please. Oh my goodness. That was so sweet of you to do. I almost didn't come on tonight because I was like, man, I only have one like really good case and then two okay cases. And I was like, it's just not enough. That's not enough, especially when I had to scrap over an hour and a half of work. Man. But then I was like, you know what? I need to see my friends. I needed you guys. Oh, you need some help there, baby? You gonna go sit in the window? Good luck. And you behave yourself. Hey, I'm talking to you. You behave yourself. You want some regular food? Have some regular kibble? Tiny Kitten Esquire is not nice to Bandit. So I have to, keep them both entertained and occupied. I am needy. I need you and you and you. Oh, I bet. And I bet everybody is so chipper and wonderful to you. Oh, Spider-Man, you are just the sweetest. Thank you. I need you guys more than you need me. I promise. I promise y'all that. All right. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. This one gets a little wild. Hello, Patrick B, honey. I'm a screen deep, so I can't click on you yet.
We are here in the case of Caitlyn Martin versus Rachel Mills, case number 25-02389PH. This hearing is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube.
And this matter comes before the court today on Ms. Mills, the respondent's motion to terminate the PPO. As an initial matter, I'd invite both parties to state and spell your name for the record. We can begin with Ms. Martin.
My name is Caitlyn Martin. It's Caitlin, Martin, Martin.
Thank you. And Ms. Mills.
My name is Rachel Mills. It's Rachel, Mills, Mills.
Very good. Thank you. And Ms. Martin, it's your burden to establish that the facts underlying this PPO are true and correct, and what is required to sustain this type of PPO, a non-domestic PPO, is that there are two incidents of threatening or harassing conduct. So I'm going to swear you in, and I'll let you explain the basis for this PPO. And then I'll also allow Ms. Mills to ask any questions, and then I can make a ruling on that. So, Ms. Martin, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. In a nutshell, and without just reading the basis for the PPO, can you explain to me why you requested the PPO in the first place?
Yes, absolutely. So originally I requested the PPO because I had repeatedly asked Ms. Mills to stop contacting me. She had shown up to my house. She had followed me from my work to my now husband's work, got out of her car, banged on my window. She came to my house while my children were home, banging on my windows, scared my, at the time, 5-year-old to the point where he cried and asked if she knew where his dad lived and if he could go to his dad's so she wouldn't show up. The PPO was put in place. It was in place for 6 months. She we tried to get it reinstated. And she fought that. We came before the court, and the judge said that he would release the PPO as long as she knew not to contact me. And I said I was fine if there was no PPO. I just didn't want any contact with her. And then, of course, she can't help herself, so she contacted me again. And I can't have that in my life. It's too much.
Okay, and the contact that occurred was electronically, it was over
Yes.
social media?
Yep, and through mutual friends. It's all the time. It's nonstop.
Okay, and when you say, has she directly reached out to you on social media?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the content of those messages? Well, I guess first, how do you know it is Miss Mills?
It's coming from her account.
Okay.
It has her name. And it's always about my husband, always trying to come between me and my husband. And she, honestly, I feel like she's just jealous and she wants to ruin our marriage. But it's not going to work. We're very happy together. And it's just pointless. There's no reason for it.
And these messages are sent directly to you or to your
Yes.
husband?
Both, but to me, the ones that I included in my petition were directly to me.
Okay. All right. And when you say she also reaches out through mutual friends, are they passed on to you because the friends want you to know what's going on, or is it because then this is, I understand your opinion, because Miss Mills is contacting them knowing that they'll pass it on to you or directing them to pass it on to you?
I think the latter.
Okay, you think she's reaching out to friends, giving them information, knowing in other
Absolutely.
words that it's going to get to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Ms. Mills, do you have any questions for Ms. Martin on the basis for the PPO?
Yeah, I have a lot.
Okay, go ahead.
So you stated at the basis that I showed up to your house banging on your door. Can you tell the judge why I was at your house that day?
Yep, because my husband had custody and time with his child, and she showed up there because she didn't want the baby at my house. The police showed up because we called them because she would not leave. And it was my husband's time with his child. He had full right to have the baby there. And she didn't like it because she doesn't like our relationship, like I said before. And the police came and made you leave because he had right to be there.
Right. So then the other question I have was, at that time, was your now husband dating me 3 weeks after we just had that baby, or was he dating you? And he was dating you but living with me?
You had moved out.
No, I hadn't at that time. That was August.
It doesn't matter. This part doesn't matter.
2022.
Okay, can't have you both talking at the same time. So we just have to, one question at a time. And what you're trying to establish, it sounds like, Miss Mills, is that there was still an acrimonious relationship between you and Miss Martin's now husband.
Correct.
Because of you just had a baby, but he was being unfaithful with Miss Martin.
Correct.
Okay. All right. No, I get that now. And I had a couple of questions, Miss Martin. Is that your house that Miss Mills showed up at, or is it?
It's mine.
Your husband's? Okay.
It's
It's
mine.
in your name, in other words?
Yep.
Okay. All right. You can continue, Miss Mills.
The other question I had was the messages that were sent to you on Instagram. Did you or did you not respond to them, making it?
I responded once
Multiple times.
Regarding the birthday party. And I was not being friendly with you. I stated facts that there was no birthday party because you wouldn't stop reaching out to my husband and he does not want anything to do with you. And so when you said, Phil won't respond to me, I said, right, there's no birthday party. This isn't happening. There's no plans. And I did not respond after that. And I kept getting messages.
Okay. You claim that Phil doesn't want anything to do with any contact of our son. Are you aware of the fact that Phil showed up here last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say he doesn't want anything to do with his son. I said he doesn't want anything to do with you.
So then my messages to you, are they or are they not just about my son and time with
They are
his
not
father?
about your son. They are
He has,
not.
the judge has copies of those messages.
Yeah,
so
good. And he can read that it's not about your son.
Mm-hmm. I think it's about the co-parenting, the relationship between us, and then making sure that my son is
And then Rachel, I do have to say,
safe.
if it's about your son, it needs to go through Phil. I've asked you many times not to contact me. And
Have you
last time we
though?
were before
'Cause I
the
don't
yes,
have
and
those
last time before we
messages.
were the judge, before we were last time, he said, you don't need to contact me. We have nothing to talk about. If you need to talk about your custody issues, that needs to go through my husband,
Which they
not
do.
me. Not me.
Which they do. They do.
Great. Then why are you reaching out to me? I've
Because
asked you not to.
All right. I'm only asking questions, so I don't need to make my statements.
Okay.
Okay. Well, any additional questions at this time?
Which friends have I reached out to? Because I'm unaware
Ray,
of which friends.
Brandon, Ari,
So is
Brooke,
Ari, how are you in a friendship with Ari, being that that's somebody that is having an alleged relationship with your husband?
we're your mutual acquaintances. We have talked.
So when Ari
So don't
sends
even worry about it.
our messages that are about her baby with your husband, is she also sharing those with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I wouldn't call Ari her friend, being that she.
I just called her a mutual acquaintance.
Okay. So
Yeah.
my text messages with Ari were not deliberately sent about you. They were about her relationship with Phil. Were they or were they not?
Then I don't know why you sent them to me.
I didn't send them to you.
Okay.
Did
Well,
I?
then why did you include them in this
Because
case?
you did. On your petition, you sent one of Ari's messages between her and I. It's the one that you labeled as crazy person at the top. That's me and Ari.
I did not
communicating.
label that. I did not have that one. That was in the petition from Phil, not me. That was
Well,
a whole
you
other thing.
no, but you included it in our petition. It's in our paperwork.
Okay. Well, then I included it because of the Facebook post that you made about me and my husband.
And I proved that I didn't make that. So
You posted in that.
and
Yes.
I'm allowed to post about my
And I'm saying that you were
experience with
talking
Phil.
about us.
Am I or am I not?
You were
Am I?
talking about us, and that's
But-
all I'm saying.
Am I or am I not allowed to talk about to other people my relationship with
Because you
Phil?
brought my name into that. So no, you are not.
You were a huge. Okay, then the other question I have is, were you or were you not my friend between the
I was
months of
not.
December 21 to March
I was not your
22?
friend.
So
I was
then
not.
why do we have text messages with you saying, I love you, Rachel. I want what's best for you, Rachel. Why did you
Because
take
I
me
say
out
that
to
to
dinner
everyone.
in March 2022? Why
Judge,
did
I'm
you?
not getting a clear record.
Yeah, we
Maybe
got to
this
only
would
have
be
one
beneficial.
person talk at the same
Then
time.
can she ask one question, please, and not just ramble?
Yeah, if just one question, and then allow Ms. Martin an opportunity to get the answer out, and then you can ask another question.
Right. So then I was asking a question that had multiple answers within the one. Caitlyn, you claim we're not friends,
We're
but
not.
there are multiple text messages between us that have talked about our friendship. There's multiple Instagram conversations between us that have talked about our friendships. You and I have had multiple calls between December 21 and March of 22 that talked about my relationship. You were somebody that told me that I could rely on you to come to about my relationship with Phil. Also, on top of that, there are various pictures of the two of us between December 21 and March of 22 that showed a friendship. Is there or not?
So that's 3 months, and we had all mutual friends, correct, at the time. And yeah, we could have been friends, but you lied and manipulated your way through everyone which is why nobody talks to you anymore. So was there maybe a time where we could have been considered friends? Sure, but we were never good friends.
Did you or did you not in your petition say that you were afraid of me since January 2022?
I am.
But
And
then
I have,
why are you saying that we
because
could
you
have been
locked
friends
me
in
into
March
a bathroom.
Hang
2022?
on, one at a time, please.
because you locked me into a bathroom.
I didn't block you
People
into a
had, yes,
bathroom,
you
but that's
did.
Okay,
No,
well,
I
think
have
we're getting
witnesses
outside
to that account.
the stuff that we have in the protective order here, because it sounds like that's quite a bit earlier than I granted the PPO anyway. So any additional questions, try to keep them around the incidents that are the basis for the PPO, which is the, appearance at Miss Martin's house, and then secondarily, unwanted electronic messages.
Can I speak to those two situations, or do I only?
Yeah, I'm
want
gonna have you
questions?
testify next, and then I'll make my ruling, but I just want to give you a chance. Do you have any more questions for Miss Martin?
No, I'll just make my statements
All
after.
right, let me swear you in, and you can make your statement if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I sent a huge 1,000-word apologies to that kind of briefly explained this situation. I do feel like the premises of the original PPO was manipulated by Mrs. Martin, Miss Anderson at the time, to force a little bit of control. She lied about a situation in regards to my son being at her house, saying that I did show up and scare her child, when really I showed up and knocked on the door asking for my child back, because as a first-time mom who had no awareness of the fact that my child was going anywhere but her grandma's, it was a fearful time for me.
You have no right to talk about control, sweet little lady. You have to trust the father of the child to make decisions when it's his parenting time. You can't go knocking on doors where he is and demanding your child back. You just can't do that.
There was also a recent lie that she told in the beginning of this, stating that I tracked her down from her house to my son, or to my son's father's work, then back to her work, or vice versa, or however it went. And I would like to clarify that I was going to my son's father's job to take lunch and meet up with him because our son was not feeling well. And I showed up and she was there. This was during the time that I was dating my son's father. She had no business being there, and she manipulated it to look otherwise, which
They
was
don't
found
work
true.
at the same location, Miss
No.
Martin?
They do
Okay.
not. I have no idea where Mrs. Martin works. I don't live in Grand Rapids. I live in Detroit. So on the premises of why this is being extended, I have absolutely no idea. Her husband tried to come after me with a PPO that was denied about a month before, on the basis that he was trying to shut me up for something that I had no part of, in which the judge threw out very quickly.
Which judge had that one assigned?
I believe it was Rebecca. I put it in the motion statement, the number of that. And so immediately after he got it thrown out, he texted me saying that he didn't have to worry about getting a PPO against me because another person got it and it was granted immediately upon request, showing that he had something to do with Caitlyn Martin's PPO against me, and that they were trying to come after me. I do believe that this is a manipulation of the law, and I do believe that this is unfortunately an abuse of the system. I do not live in Grand Rapids. I don't communicate with the people in Grand Rapids. If people of my son's father's friends reach out to me, it's solely about my son and asking how we're doing. I don't talk to anybody that's over there. I choose not to, because I have moved on. I've been dating over here. I've been working over here. I live in Novi. I've completely removed myself. And where I'm having difficulties right now is trying to form a very healthy co-parenting relationship. And I'm finding that there's a lot of miscommunication between my son's father and his wife. And she can say otherwise, but it's really dampering a relationship because he is unable to come to places because of her feelings towards me. And that was the reason why I reached out in January, was to literally ask to just let this go so we can all have a healthy start, all move forward, and allow there to be time for my son to be with his father, because it is clearly becoming apparent that her issues with me are one-sided and really putting a damper on anything moving forward. I am just literally trying to move on.
Is your concern, not to be clear, Ms. Mills, about your time with your son, or about your son having an adequate amount of time with your ex?
So I have sole custody with my son with
So
supervised
you've got him.
visits. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have sole custody with supervised visits with me. So if Phil has access to my child, unfortunately, I have to be there. And
That
part
is
of the
not true,
reason,
because we
yes,
had
it
him
is.
Well,
overnight.
hang on, I'll hear it, and then you can respond, Ms. Martin.
Yes, it is. He did have him overnight. I granted him an overnight because he asked, and I thought it would be fine, which was before the issues that took place on my son's birthday,
Mhm.
and which I was very much told by my son's father that she wanted nothing to do with my son. So I stopped allowing overnights due to that, because I did not feel comfortable with my son being in that house. Also, I am friends with other parents that are in the mother circle that don't also feel comfortable. So there's other issues that are along with that. That's why I took away the overnights. Basically, with this, I feel like, what's the way that I can put it? I want nothing to do with my son's father in a romantic way, and I've made that very clear. My son was, or my ex was abusive towards me in multiple ways. I moved out in October 22, and there were several incidents that took place afterwards that really reminded me that this was not somebody I wanted to be with. And I have been dating, I have been living over here. There is zero interest in me being with my son's father. So when it comes to the co-parenting, I have to put aside my distaste for my son's father in order for us to healthy have a co-parent. And so when I say that I would like to move forward and have a very, like, allow him to be in my son's life, it's only for my son's being. It's not for my choice. If it was my choice, it wouldn't be the case. My friend of court says otherwise. I have to abide by those rules. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of understand what you're saying about it. Is really in your mind, it revolves around your son and the parenting time that may or may not occur with his dad.
Yeah.
All right. And Miss Martin, is that your perception as well, or is there more to it than that?
That there's way more to it than that. But honestly, like, if it is about co-parenting, do it with him. Like, stop involving me. There's no reason that your child couldn't be here. We have his other son here all the time, and I love him. And I have 4 children of my own that are here all the time. I'm not a bad mother. I've never had anything said negatively about my parenting. I love your son because he's a product of my husband. When he was here for that night, we had a great time. He got to bond with my kids, and we all loved it. But she does not want me involved. So that birthday party she's talking about, it was just supposed to be with my husband, her child, and his side of the family. I was not invited. So that's why my husband said, we're not doing a party, because I'm not having a party for my son without my wife being there.
So I'm going to correct you on that. There are plenty of text messages where I've told Phil to bring you. And then in my message, after I messaged you on Instagram, I said I would have loved to have you both there. So that might have been your misconception, unfortunately, but you've always been included in those. I invited you to the one in Detroit that Phil said no. And he said, the only way I'm comfortable coming is with Caitlyn. And I said, go ahead and bring her. There's messages that say that.
All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of the entirety of the relationship during this hearing, and I do have other hearings to get to. But I guess what I am hearing here is, obviously, given the nature of the relationship, and that the ex was involved with you. You got a baby together with him, and then at some point, entered into a relationship with Miss Martin, and that undoubtedly, as inevitably in that situation, it creates some hard feelings. And it creates a special difficulty when you've got a baby, a little kid to be concerned about, and she making sure you know where they are, and that they're with people that at least you are supportive, that you believe are safe for your child, as any parent would want to do. And I think that's what resulted in the initial incident here of going to the house. But nonetheless, of course, Miss Martin would be, as anyone would, to have someone, appear at their house, knock on their door and kind of confront them about, what's going on with parenting time, a situation that they might not know about, that would be at least startling, or feel like harassment. Secondarily, the messages, and it's not the first case where I've seen it, where, oftentimes I say, it seems to me like probably, some of the women get along. However, the one person that's absent I don't hear from here is Phil, the guy who was involved with both of you and may or may not respond to messages himself. And of course, it's natural when you don't get that. Well, gee, just like if I can't get a hold of one of my kids and I know they're with another one, I might call them or text them and say, hey, are you with this? Can you ask them this question? Well, unfortunately, in this relationship, that's just not going to work that way, because of the way the relationship started. And it's just simply to involve Miss Martin in any of those communications is only going to create more distrust and acrimony, I think, because, and of course, since she is still married to your ex, anything that's critical of him, or talking down to him, if it goes to her, well, she's going to respond to it naturally. So I'm going to leave the protective order in place at this time. I do think there are two incidents that would support the issue of the protective order. However, I'm doing note here, these don't last forever, and it also is, people get all worried about protective orders, but the truth is, of course, it's a civil case. It's not a criminal record or a bad mark, in anyone's file. I do note that the protective order does prohibit you from purchasing or possessing a firearm. Is that something that's important to you, Ms. Mills? Do I need to delete that provision? I haven't heard any mention of, some of these do involve people who are threatening to kill each other. However, I do understand there is disagreement and bad blood here, but I don't think either of you are going to murder the other person. Is that important to you, or should I delete that provision, Ms. Mills?
How long is this going to be held for?
It's going to remain in place under its terms. It remains in place. Actually, did I extend? I don't think I've granted an extension on this. So actually, this one expired on March the 17th of this year. Or no, I'm sorry. I signed it on March the 17th. It expires then on September 17th of this year. So it'll remain in place, essentially through the next start of the next school year. So do you want me to delete the firearm provision?
Yes, because just in case I need to
arm yourself for any given reason. Well, I don't think it would create a danger to anyone here, and it is a constitutional right, and I haven't heard anything about firearms involved. So I'll delete that provision. Otherwise, it'll remain the same. It'll remain in place until September 17th. And basically, it just says, don't initiate contact. And, importantly, when you do have a circle of friends, Sometimes I know in electronic contact, if you say the other person's name or you refer to a situation, it could only be the other person. You post a picture of them or their child or whatever. Well, in this case, it's your, you're not her child, it's your and your husband's. But if you post something that only could refer to them, it's easy to say, well, that was meant to be passed on to me. Now, that may or may not be your intention, but nonetheless, the most cautionary way to approach those electronic communications is just not to mention her or write things in there that would say, as you pointed out, your husband, at least doesn't have this protective order against you, and exes, in general, are probably fair game for bad comments, but not
Yes.
necessarily Miss Martin. So, and that requires some caution because, of course, they are married. They share the same last name. So you just want to be cautious that nothing could be construed as against her. And Ms. Martin, if you wish to, if there are any additional incidents between now, I don't think these incidents are sufficient to extend the expiration date of the protective order at this time. However, if there are additional incidents between now and the expiration, you can file for an extension and I'll evaluate it. And Ms. Mills, you have the right to object to the extension as well, and we would conduct another hearing like this. But for now, it'll remain in place. I'll just modify it to take off the weapons provision.
So then, sir, I have a couple questions for you.
Yep.
Just want to clarify with the understanding, both the situations where she said I knocked on her door and knocked on her door and knocked on her window took place in 2022. She has that listed, correct?
I can't recall the exact dates, and I think as I'm thinking through this order, it was a scenario where I had granted one, and I don't remember if it was objected to, and I didn't, I terminated it, or exactly how it, it panned out. But it appeared, as Ms. Martin testified today, that the situation had ended. So I said, okay, you're in different locations. We don't need it anymore. And then I think the electronic situation started up again. Yeah. So let's see here. It does. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Because that was all from the original.
Right.
PPO
And
that
so
I had in
then,
place.
the other question I have is the last message I had to her was, I believe, January of 2024,
No,
Okay.
or was it January, December
25.
20? It was December 2024. So if I haven't had contact with her like that, we're still worried about me having contact still?
It was
Yes,
after that.
well,
Okay.
that's the impact of the order, is simply just do not contact her.
Okay, and then so how do we find a way to mutually have a healthy balance here? Because if my son is, if we're, I guess, what does it look like moving forward once September happens so we don't get here again? Because I feel like there's no way for us to have complete separation that this PPO is asking,
Yeah.
with my son's father and my son being related.
Yeah, no, and you're going to obviously have to communicate with your son's father regarding parenting time and things of that nature. However, you should simply not include Miss Martin. She clearly doesn't want to be in the middle of that relationship, nor does she want to be kind of a reference point or a touchstone. Now, you do have sole custody of your son, so you are able to, within the dictates of your custody and your friend of the court order, set the terms for interactions with your son and his dad. But right, you're just not allowed, and you'll have to structure that in a way that doesn't involve Ms. Martin. And I know that's tricky to do in a situation like that, and the two of them are married, but you're going to have to
Right.
find a way forward. And
Right.
unfortunately, it may mean less time, because it gets more complicated, that your son has with his dad. That may be to his detriment, but as I said, the protective order isn't forever, and after 2025, I would think that what I would do is I would leave it to, Miss Martin to reach out to you, if she gets to a point where she thinks, there's a basis to restart relationship to talk about, for your kids taking medicine and she's going to be in charge of that or whatever.
Right.
Let her initiate it and make the contact and try to rebuild some of the trust. Because I'd say, that's the number one thing now is that's
Well,
is the trust, and you're going to have to try to rebuild that after a, timeout period.
So then my question with that is, because I have her blocked on all social media due to this situation, is I don't want to be back in your courtroom again for anything of, in my opinion, civil conversations that I'm trying to have moving forward. And so I'm trying to
The only
avoid
civil
having-
conversations that'll get you back here on this order are conversations with Miss Martin. So just, don't have those, at least until after the order expires in September. And after September, I would leave it in her court to reinitiate it, because the truth is, when you've got an old protective order that's been granted, it's okay for me to look back at the old order and say, well, there were problems back then and there are additional problems now. And then I can, kind of stack them on top of each other to create the instances. Once I've granted an order and put it in place, and kept it in place, then, its basis can be, in effect used again. Now it gets older, and, if you, something very minor happens 10 years down the road, it's pretty hard to establish another protective order on the former basis. But like this one, if things get bad again, well, she's got a quick basis to come into court because she's already had one, to obtain a protective order. So, like I say, you've got kind of the most to lose in the situation. Thus the pressure's on you to, avoid initiating contact.
So then the other question I have is, one of the biggest concerns that both Phil and Caitlyn had were this whole Facebook post that showed up. Am I or am I not allowed to talk about my experience that I've had in that dating realm?
You mean with Phil?
Not when it
Yeah.
involves me.
But you
Yeah,
are a
but
teacher.
not, I would not involve Miss Martin. And by involving her, I mean not mentioning her name, and also not creating a situation where I said, well, and then she took up with this lady who lived at such and so an address, and it can only be her. People try to get creative, and I encourage them not to do that, because then I get tempted to get frustrated and impose, fines and stuff like that, which I don't want to do. So.
And so if we just continue doing what I've been doing for the past 6 months, we'll be okay.
Well, I would say if you completely cut Miss Martin out of any of your communications,
Which
right?
I have.
Sounds like you have. Sounds like you'll be fine with continuing until September. And if there are violations, like I say, I'm sure I'll hear from Miss Martin. So, and I'd rather not do that too. I'd rather have this thing die down and eventually turn into a civil kind of relationship between adults. But sometimes that takes time. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate
Thank you.
your civility during the hearing today. And with that, we are concluded.
Thank you so much.
Civility? Where did you find civility? Yeah. I'm surprised it wasn't ordered. I'm not saying that Miss Martin is perfect, but Miss Martin is definitely being victimized to a point. She doesn't need to be in the middle of her husband's relationship with the mother of his child. It's a very mature move for her to step back from that and say, that's your business. You handle it. Most women want to get in the middle and start fights and drama and all that. And she's like, no, I got 4 kids of my own. We'll co-parent, your child when your child is here. And we'll have all of our children Brady Bunching together. I commend her for that, actually. And Miss Mills, she's she's using almost it's like she's operating under the guise of wanting to co-parent, but in reality she's just wanting to be in the middle of their relationship, and it's so gross.
All right, here we go. This is case number 24-13487, People State of Michigan versus Erica Louise Jackson. Ms. Jackson is represented by Ms. Frisbee. We're here for a arraignment on a 6-count probation violation warrant. And Ms. Jackson, did you receive a copy of that requested warrant for probation violation?
Yes.
Did you read it? Said yes? Get to speak up?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
All right. Did you also receive a copy of your probation violation arraignment advice of rights form?
Yes.
Did you read that document? Yes. Did you understand it?
Yes.
All right. So the allegations here are that you were placed on probation to this court for the 10-year felony offense of possession of methamphetamine. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, we've got some technical violations. The technical violations are that you violated condition number 2.4, that you're not to use or possess any controlled substances or alcoholic beverages. The allegation is that on or about May 20th, you tested positive for and admitting to using methamphetamine. Do you understand the allegations contained in count 1?
Yes.
Count 2, violation of condition number 4, in that on or about May 16th, you moved or changed your residence without first getting permission of your probation agent. You understand the allegations in count 2.
Yes.
Count 3, violation of condition number 2.8, when on or about May 19th, 2025, you failed to enroll in substance abuse counseling as instructed by the field agent. You understand the allegations contained in count 3.
Yes.
Count 4, violation of condition number 4.18, when on or about May 16th, 2025, you assaulted Christine Jackson. You understand the allegations raised in count 4.
Does me saying yes, I understand it, does that mean that I'm saying that I did it?
No, you're just saying that you understand what they're accusing you of.
Yeah.
All right. Count 5, these are non-technical violations that you violated condition number 1, which prohibited you from violating any criminal law of the state of Michigan. And on or about May 16, 2025, you violated Michigan state law when you assaulted Christine Jackson. To understand the allegations raised in count 5.
Yes.
Count 6, violation of condition number 1, on or about May 20th, 2025, you violated Michigan state law when you used or possessed methamphetamine. To understand the allegations contained in count 6.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Frisbee, what plea does she wish to enter?
Not guilty this time, Your Honor. Your Honor, she had Mr. Greer on the underlying case.
Okay. So, Ms. Jackson, one of the most important rights that you have is the right to be represented by an attorney. And if you could not afford an attorney, the court would appoint an attorney to represent you at public expense. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Did you plan on hiring an attorney to help you out with this case? Do you want to be represented by an attorney? Speak up.
Yes.
Okay. And you're indicating to the court that you don't think you can afford one, is that right? Okay, let's talk about that. I see that you weren't sentenced that long ago. When did you get out of jail?
Like,
May 6th, Your Honor. May 6th.
May 6th, okay. So since May 6th, have you earned any money?
yeah, I started working Monday.
Okay. And that would have been Monday of this week? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, and who are you working for?
The LW construction.
What were you doing for them?
I was a grunt man.
Just do whatever they want, like a laborer?
Yep.
Okay, how much were they paying?
20 an hour.
She worked one day, Your Honor.
Okay. So So the judgment of sentence indicates that you got 180 days in jail. Obviously, you weren't working all during that period of time, is that right? You weren't working when you were in jail. All right. You don't have any money saved up, do you? You have any assets? All right. All right, the court does find that you are indigent, and the Indigent Defense Commission would appoint John Greer to represent you in this case. The next thing that we need to do is to discuss a bond. And Ms. Frisbee, is there anything that you want the court to consider in setting a bond?
Well, my client indicated she just started working, so she had that job. $20 an hour is pretty good for someone in this economy, in this county. Also, the person, Christine Jackson, that's listed as your mother, she was residing there, but she's no longer able to reside there, but she will be able to stay with her sister who lives on Main Street in Fremont. So she does have ties to the community. She may have failed to appear for court in the past, but otherwise she has nothing else pending.
Who is her sister?
Nicole
Nicole's last name.
Jackson.
And I've spoken to her mother, and her mother has said that Nicole does not want her in the house.
Well, I had a change in the hospital.
That's what your mother had said when she spoke to her.
Well,
Hang on. All right, so,
Of course, that's what my mom talked to her, and I didn't.
do you know if Nicole's been in trouble with the law before?
It's been a very long time. She's been sober for a while. She's got her kids back. She's been doing well for a while.
Okay. Anything else that you want the court to consider, Ms. Ridley?
yeah, thank you.
All right, Ms. Robinson?
Your Honor, I have serious concerns about this. I did check. It does look like we opted to take no action criminally at this time. On the assault underlying this, it appears that there was additional investigative work that Prosecutor Walburn wanted completed that has not been done yet, so there are no pending charges on that. My concern is that this defendant entered her plea in the underlying charges on this one on October 7th of 2024. She then failed to appear for sentencing on November 25th. She then failed to appear at a show cause hearing in this court on January 6th. And then it looks like on January 21st of this year, we had a motion hearing where you set the bond at $50,000, set her for sentencing in March. She was sentenced to 6 months. Then, as we've already heard, she just got out on May 6th. She is already not welcome at the house she was staying at. There's allegations of assault, but even more concerning to me is the fact that she did not let the probation department know that she had moved, and that she has the violation of either testing positive or admitting to using methamphetamine. This is a methamphetamine charge. She was out for approximately 2 weeks, it looks like, and she already has started using drugs again, specifically methamphetamine. And since she has not shown up in the past and she did not stay in touch when she moved, I would ask this court to raise her bond. I do not believe that $25,000 is enough to ensure that she will appear for court or cease using drugs if she is out. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Mussman, anything?
I got nothing to add to that, Your Honor.
All right, the court's going to set bond at $50,000, cash or surety. And since we don't have any pending charges, the court will set this case for a probation violation hearing within 14 days. We'll do that May 27th at 3:20.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Jackson, if you post that bond, you need to contact Mr. Greer right away. And you need to contact Mr. Musman. Okay?
I'm not gonna post it.
Okay, well, we'll see you on the 27th.
And
All right, you're here for an arraignment.
I'm unclear about the 2 count. Oh,
Okay, same, okay.
okay.
All right, and did you receive a copy of the request warrant for probation violation?
Yes, sir.
Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
All right, did you go over it with Mr. Greer?
Yes, sir.
Or did you also receive a copy of the probation violation arraignment advice of rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you read that document?
Yes.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes.
And you signed it today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the allegation here is that you're placed on probation in this court for the 10-year felony offense of domestic violence, third offense. Looks like it's just third offense, a 5-year felony, not habitual offender third. Just so, domestic violence third, 5-year max. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and the allegation here is that you violated condition number 2.0, that you not use or possess alcoholic beverages or other intoxicants. The allegation is on or about May 16, 2025, you were consuming alcohol and submitted to a preliminary breath test with the results of 0.232. Understand the allegations contained in count 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Count 2 says that you committed a non-technical violation. This is that you're not violating the law of the Indian government. And the allegation is that same conduct, consuming alcohol, violated Michigan state law when you were intoxicated in a public place. Do you understand the allegations contained in count 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Greer, what plea did you wish to enter?
Not guilty at this point, Your Honor.
All right. All right, and Mr. Reynolds, one of the most important rights that you have is the right to be represented by an attorney. And if you could not afford an attorney, the court would appoint an attorney to represent you at public expense. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you plan on hiring an attorney to help you out with this case?
No, Your Honor.
Do you want to be represented by an attorney?
Yes.
You're asking the court to appoint an attorney for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so have you been working at all, sir?
Yes.
Where have you been working?
I work at Double M Hardwoods. It's outside of Fremont. The address is Holton, but
Okay, what do you do for them?
I stack their lumber and I inspect the lumber for them. It's not always full time because we have trouble getting logs, but
How much do they pay an hour?
$25 an hour. But again, it's not always full time.
Well, how many hours have you been getting recently?
I got 34 last week, 22 the week before that, 16 the week before that, 24 the week before that. It's typically 2 or 3 days a week.
Okay. Do you have another job that you do in those other couple days?
I try and do side jobs, but it's hard to find work that's temporary.
Are you married or single?
I'm single, but I have 3 kids. I make enough to pay the bills and.
So you have 3 biological kids?
Yes, sir.
Do they live with you?
Yes.
All right, the court does find that you are indigent. The Indigent Defense Commission would appoint Christine Frisbee to represent you in this case. The next thing we need to do is discuss a bond. And Mr. Greer, anything that you want the court to consider in setting a bond?
Your Honor, he is employed. He is raising 3 children. The court knows his employment status. I would ask for leniency. He says that it's been about a year since his last violation, which I think also included alcohol. So perhaps an alcohol tether might suffice, and a reasonable bond, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Robinson, anything that you want the court to consider?
It was almost exactly a year ago. It was June 3rd of 2024. He committed the last violation, which included PBT at a 0.28. as a result of that violation, he was placed on scram for 6 months. And then now we are back here, him at a 0.23. So the drinking is still heavy. It's clear that he is engaging in that same kind of behavior. I don't know what happens in the spring that starts this, but I do have concerns that even with a previous violation and being monitored, the behavior has not been broken.
Mr. Mussman?
Your Honor, it's on for DB third, which included alcohol as part of that felony that he committed, which was a .334. And then, like Mr. Robinson said a year ago, he was a .28, and now he's a .32.
So he's trending down.
I thought that myself, Your Honor. But unfortunately, it's just not a single incident. He's a daily drinker in the past, and I'm worried that it's probably be whatever.
What brought this incident to the authorities' attention?
He was at Walmart and he's being treated loud there, and he'd been there previously, pretty loud as well, and they were able to get him out previously when he was intoxicated. But this time, he wouldn't leave, but he was sitting on the ground there. So the police came out there and they're sitting inside the Walmart.
Do we know how he got to Walmart? You took him?
I picked him up from work and I had to stop the dog. He wasn't drunk when we went into Walmart, Your Honor. He had a bottle, he admitted to it after we were outside the police officer. And he drank it in the bathroom.
Your Honor, if I might say,
Well, hang on, but you've entered a not guilty plea, so I don't want to hear anything about the facts of the case.
So according to his witness, she drove him to Walmart, but he had a bottle with him that he snuck into the back of Walmart and drank. Okay, that makes perfect logical sense.
no, I've been attending counseling. I go to RISE. I've been attending AA. It's just, I had a moment of weakness. I'm not proud of it.
All right, so the court's going to set a bond at $25,000 cash or surety. The condition of that bond is that you get fixed with a scram. We'll set this case for a probation violation hearing, May 27th at 2:50. If you happen to post that bond and you get that scram on, contact Mr. Mussman right away, and also contact Ms. Friesman. We'll let her know that you're currently incarcerated. Okay?
I'll let her know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy the whole snuck the bottle into Walmart and drank it story. I don't know why. It just sounds a little sus to me. He's got some pretty high BACs on some pretty heavy probation violations there. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. So much for coming out. MI Urbex, I am going to check out that link. Hey. Stop it. Oh, curiosity didn't kill the cat. Curiosity killed the mama. You have a beautiful afternoon bird watching. You'll have to tell me all about them so that I can sound smart to my kid. Oh. All right, guys, I gotta break up my own cat fights around here. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you coming and spending this time with me. I needed you guys tonight. I needed every one of you. Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.